Hey guys, these are my 10 essential items for a multi-day hike. Coming in at number 1, we have water. Got to make sure that you have a couple of litres a day. And if you ever come across a water source, don't risk it guys. Make sure you pack yourself a water filtration system. This is the Sawyer's water filtration system. It comes with a bag that you can fill with the dirty water. Attach this to it. You can drink directly from the bag, or you can pass it in and refill other water bottles. The beauty of this device as well is that it actually fits on top of standard drinking bottles that you pick up from the shops, which makes it extremely versatile and very handy. You just fit that straight onto there and you can drink directly from the straw at the tip there. Easy peasy. Right guys, number 2 is going to be our cook system. Here we have some dehydrated food packs, come in various flavours. You can get curries, you can get lamb shepherd's pies. This one's a vegetarian stir fry. And we even have desserts. This one's carrot cake and custard. Yet to try that one, but I'm really interested to see what that tastes like. I've never taken the desserts on the trail before. And just a nice compact, light cook system. I don't really do much more than just boil water up and rehydrate my food packs, so I don't really need too much in the form of fry pans and other bits and pieces. And in here, I have, this becomes a cup for drinking, as well as making little coffees if you make them. Cleaning cloth. The MSR Pocket Rocket, which is fantastic. I have done a video on this before, not too fantastic, but I could redo one in the future. Also comes with a little tripod or a stabilizer, which attaches to the gas cylinder. And at the bottom I even have a little scrubber if I end up cooking something a little bit more stubborn, maybe something gets baked on. So that's that. Here we have a raincoat guys. This not only protects you from the rain but also acts as a windbreak, and I found on one of my last hikes that I went on, in the night it was quite cold and I layered up all my gear and it just wasn't enough, but then when I added the raincoat to that, which really helped to trap in all my heat, I found it fantastic, particularly for sleeping in. Maybe a little bit noisy, but all in all, it's comfortable enough, protected from the rain, and kept me extra warm as well. Next up guys, we have a headlamp. Obviously when you get to camp and the sun sets and there's no other form of lighting around, this is going to be super important, particularly when you're knocking up your meals and you're cooking in the dark. I highly recommend getting one with the red light function. I had a situation when I was camping, there was a lot of nighttime insects, and as I was cooking, the reflection off my fry pan was having all the insects fly straight into my dinner. But when I turned on the red light, the insects were not attracted to that and they stopped flying into my dinner, and I was able to have a proper meal without the moths. So highly recommend headlamp, red light. Okay, now I've grouped 2 together here guys. We actually have a titanium ultralight long-handled spoon. You can go for a spork version as well, but I find that when you're eating those rehydration packs, you don't really need it. These are great for eating out of those because the bags can be a little bit deep. You can always cut them off at the halfway mark to reduce the depth that you need to eat, but even stirring and cooking with this, it just gives you a little bit of distance when you're stirring and mixing things around. In addition to that, a good knife. So a foldable knife can be really handy, it's less dangerous. It's not going to slip out of your pocket and stab you immediately. This is the Boker Urban Trapper. I think it's classed as a gentleman's knife. I mean, I'm not doing any whittling or carving up a wood with this. This is primarily just cutting materials, and you can use it to slice up ingredients, vegetables, potatoes and things like that. Also use it for eating steaks. If you bring a steak out on the trail, this makes a great steak knife. It's very nice. This is another one that I've actually bunched together, but they're all equal and part of the same idea, which is just to protect yourself and keep yourself clean. Here we have sunscreen, super important when you're outdoors. You don't want to get burnt. You can get burnt, you can get dehydrated, you can get heat stroke and all sorts of things, so you don't want to be getting burnt. Sunglasses, obviously, gonna need those. The hat as well, keep the sun off the face. A wider brim is probably going to be better than this baseball cap. Insects, super unpleasant if you're getting attacked, so if you can bring along something to repel the insect from biting you in the night, it's going to be a great relief. And here we have real game changer, wet wipes. Aim to get the biodegradable ones, just in case you are burying these on the trail when you're doing your business. But in general, when you're out there and you don't have these and your only other option is to use your water to wash your hands, not ideal because you're wasting your water for things that you probably don't really need to do it. These are great for just cleaning yourself in general, your pits and bits, and also if you touch something or you get some food on your hands at the end of the day and you need to wipe it off, these are fantastic. And you can get these small packs, which are great too, and not too much weight. All right, here we have the Spark 2 from Sea to Summit. This is an ultralight sleeping bag, and I think it's really important that before you head out on your hike, that you determine what the weather's going to be like and you get the proper insulation rating for the area that you're going to be heading into. I always store it in this larger bag because it's got duck feathers in it, and if you leave them packed up all the time in these smaller bags, which basically gets down to a small football when you pack it into here, it can actually damage the sleeping bag, and you don't want that, particularly when you spend, these ultralight ones are a little bit more expensive, but totally worth the investment. Here we have the insulated mat for sleeping. This again is an ultralight version. They're not cheap, but the way I figure it is if you're willing to spend $120 to $200 to stay in a hotel, then it's well worth investing in a really good sleeping mat that's not only light but comfortable. This is a really nice R rating, which I'll put just maybe there right now. And a good night's rest is all the difference between whether or not you're going to head out hiking again and how you're going to feel the next day. So this one's super light. It's good for my frame. I'm 6 foot tall, and the bag actually doubles as an inflation device. So you basically just pull this out, then that piece goes over the inlet, which has a one-way valve in it, which is nice. So when you're putting air in, it doesn't rush back out every time. Couple of breaths, roll it up. And from memory, it only takes about between 5 to 8 of those to inflate the whole thing, so it's nice and quick as well. Right guys, here we have the tent now. This is the Nature Hike Cloud Up 1 single man tent. It's nice and compact and small. It's not too heavy. I think it comes in at around about 1.6 kilos. Keeping your weight down as much as possible when you're packing that backpack for the hike is really important, because the less sore you are at the end of the day, the more likely are you're going to get up and have a great day the next day, and the more likely you are to head out on another hike very soon. So small, compact, super light tent. Right guys, now we're onto the backpack. This is the Pinnacle 60 from Denali. 60 litres seems to be an ideal size for me when I'm heading on a 3-day hike. For a 1-day hike, I'd probably get something a little bit smaller, maybe a 45 or a 50 litre. Most importantly, you've got to think about comfort with these guys. You want nice, comfortable, cushy shoulder straps. Waist straps are also great, because when you clip them in, they actually take the weight off the shoulders. It's transferred down to your hips as well, so it's sharing the load. Something with a breathable back that allows some airflow can be great as well, because you tend to get a little bit hot when you're hiking, so that airflow can be great as well for comfort. Yeah guys, once you've got all your gear together, start looking at the size of backpack you're going to need to fit all your stuff. Right guys, these are my notable mentions. We have waterproof bags. These are great for storing your electronics. I've even used them for food as well. Can be really handy for keeping things dry, just in case there's rain or you fall in a river. At least you know your electronics above all are going to be safe, and your food items aren't going to get damaged or potentially leak and damage other items in your bag, in your backpack. Here we have an inflatable pillow. I actually once tried to just stuff all my leftover clothing into my sleeping bag case and used that as a pillow one night whilst camping, and it was not comfortable. Ended up getting one of these, and I think they're great. They're not big, they're nice and compact, and they'll assist you in having a proper night's rest at the end of the day. Also here we have the battery pack. This is a tiny one. This is 3,600 milliamps. And this thing, with my Google Pixel phone, gave me 2 additional charges. And you think you're heading out on a 3-day hike, that'll get you by. And that's not big, that's nice and small. You can fit it in there and it weighs very little. This is the end of the video. If you've made it this far and you found it helpful in any way, please consider liking and subscribing, and I'll make more of this content, and I'll see you in the next one.